It may not look like it from the outside, but the Schlage Encode Plus Smart Lock is by far the most full-featured and most impressive smart lock that I've tried thus far. And as you can see, it even supports NFC unlocking with your Apple Watch and your iPhone, thanks to HomeKit support. And to my knowledge, I believe the Encode Plus is the first smart lock with Apple HomeKit support built in, and it even works when your iPhone is out of battery. Despite this, I can still unlock. So let's take a closer look at the Schlage Encode Plus. Alright folks, so here it is, the Schlage Encode Plus Smart Lock. I've been anticipating this device for a while now, ever since I learned that it would have Apple HomeKit support built in. And while that's great, it's not the only way to unlock the smart lock. Of course, there are so many different ways to interface with this lock, as we'll show you in this video. But here it is, the Schlage Encode Plus. It's a typical smart lock. It has all the components that you would expect, such as the back plate, the thumb turn, your keypad, etc., etc., the deadbolt, all that included in the package. So here's your keypad, and what's cool is that this thing works like a traditional lock as well. You can just use a normal key if you choose to do so. Folks, hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up if you appreciate videos like this. So let's talk installation. The first thing, obviously, dismantle, remove your old deadbolt, as I've done here. Now you have your deadbolt for the Schlage Encode Plus. You want to just put that in just like that, screw it in, and step one is done. Now normally the next step would be to replace the strike plate, but since this is a review unit, I'm not going to do that. So now that we have the deadbolt installed, it's time to install the touchscreen. And it's pretty easy to install the touchscreen. You just want to make sure you route this little cable through, and then you want to make sure that the tailpiece is aligned properly with the deadbolt. So once you do those things, you just slide the touchscreen on just like this, and make sure you route the cable through. And you may want to get some painter's tape and tape the touchscreen, or have a friend hold it for you while you assemble the back plate. And the back plate has a little hole where you can route the cable through, just like this. And then from there, you just slide the back plate on and use your two screws to screw the back plate into the touchscreen. Make sure it's all aligned properly. So you want to adjust it as necessary to make sure it's straight, and then continue to screw in the back plate. So I notice I'm a little crooked here, so I'm just going to move it over like that, and then secure it down just a little bit more, make sure it's very tight. And there we go. So the touch screen is installed. It looks great. I want to make sure that it is aligned properly, and I think it is. So the next step would be to install the thumb turn. So you want to connect the cables, and then you want to align the tailpiece into the back of the thumb turn, push it into place, use your two screws here to screw it in, and that's looking pretty good. So the next step, install the batteries inside the battery holder. I've already done this, so the 4 AA's, and then slide the battery holder down inside the lock just like that. So folks, as long as your door is prepped, this thing is super easy to install. Doesn't take a lot of effort, just a few minutes, and you can have it installed just like that. Okay, so now to the initial setup. So I haven't put the cover on just yet because you need to access the little button here. Just press that button once to initiate pairing. Now once you see the blue LED light up, grab your iPhone, tap the lock just like this, and that will initiate the HomeKit setup. So you just tap Add to Home to get started. You can choose your home. I'm going to choose my existing home, so continue. It's going to connect to the lock. Then you're going to choose your lock location. In this case, I'm going to choose back door, tap continue. Give your lock a name. I'm going to leave it as default, Encode Plus, tap continue. And then you see this. This is really the coolest part of this whole thing. You get HomeKit. So HomeKit lets you unlock your door using NFC. So I'm going to tap continue there. You can turn on express mode, which basically allows you to use the NFC unlock without authenticating with Touch ID or Face ID. So I want that enabled. I'm going to tap continue on access codes, and there you can set up your access code. It can be 4 to 8 digits. So I'm going to choose 1984, tap continue. Then it's going to suggest some lock automations. I'll just tap continue there, and now the lock is added to your home, and just tap on done. So that's it. Now we can put the cover back on and our lock is set up. So now let's talk about some of the touchscreen features. So here's the touchscreen. You get 10 digits. I'm going to enter the passcode I set up. And the first time I enter, the lock is actually going to sort of calibrate, and then you'll be good to go. So the touchscreen, as you can see, it is backlit. So when you tap one of the numbers, the lights come on. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to tap on the 1. And there's no haptic feedback or anything like that. And there's really no animation on the number itself, which is a little bit jarring. However, there is sort of an acknowledgement that you tapped one of the buttons. You see that in the upper right hand corner. When I tap, you see a little dot there to acknowledge that the button press was successful. Notice here, see that little dot right there that appears when I tap a button? So that acknowledges that you actually tapped a button. You also get some audible feedback as well, but it's not very loud. So in the bottom right hand corner, you see the lock button. If you have one touch lock enabled, you simply tap that lock button and it will lock your door. Just like that. So that's pretty handy. You can turn that on or off if you want to actually put the full code in to lock your door. Now, another useful feature for that lock button is if, say you enter the wrong code or you realize you've entered the wrong code, you can basically start over just by hitting the lock button, and that will reset you so you can actually enter in the correct passcode. Now, along with acknowledging a successful passcode entry, the little house button in the bottom left-hand corner can also be used just to light up the keypad. If you want to quickly see the keypad, maybe you're fumbling along in the dark, well, that's a good way to light that keypad up without actually entering in a number. So that can be handy, right? So I've locked, unlocked, shows you all that. But what happens when you put in the wrong passcode? Well, I'm going to show you what happens now. We're just going to put in a bogus passcode, and you can see the little X on the lock button appears. Now, what happens if I keep entering the wrong passcode? Well, again, you see the X there. And if I keep doing this 4 times in a row, you're going to see that it will actually lock me out for a period of time, and it will send a notification to my phone saying that, hey, the wrong passcode has been entered multiple times. The first lockout will be 15 seconds, then it'll increase to 30, then 45, then a minute, and then it jumps to like 2 minutes. So yeah, anyone who's trying to brute force your lock is going to get frustrated pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and put in the right passcode. And as you can see, it acknowledges that, and it will either lock or unlock your device depending on its current state. Now let's talk about some of the methods for unlocking and locking. Of course, you have the thumb turn on the inside of the lock. You can unlock or lock just by turning like that. Super simple, super easy. And here's the nice thing. For people who just don't want to fool with all the smarts, you have a traditional key. You can use that all the same, just like you've always used locks to unlock or lock your door with a normal key. That's nice. And like I showed you earlier, you can enter the passcode on the touchscreen. You can set up different passcodes for guests or other residents in the household. So that's very cool. You can lock or unlock using that. And of course, you have the Schlage Home app, and that allows you to lock or unlock your Encode Plus directly from that app with just a tap. All right, now let's talk about another method for locking or unlocking your device, the Home app, right? You set up with HomeKit. Now you just tap the little tile within the Home app to lock or unlock just like that. And since it's a HomeKit compatible device, you can, of course, use automation. So I've set up an automation that at 7:09, the lock will lock. And as you can see, it does just that. Now I can also use Siri. So I'm just going to ask Siri to go ahead and unlock my device, and it does so. And this is a cool one, HomeKey support. So you can use an NFC enabled iPhone all the way back, I think, to the iPhone XR to lock or unlock your device with just a tap. And you can use express mode, so you don't even have to confirm with Touch ID or Face ID first if you want to do that. And what's cool is that the home keys live in your Apple Wallet and will automatically engage once you tap your lock. And like I said, the Apple Watch works as well with just a tap. Just like that. Super nice feature to have. So here I am on the outside of the door. I want to come in, just simply tap like that. My lock unlocks and now I gain entry. Folks, home key support is really nice. So I'll just lock with a tap, just like that. All right, now let's talk about home key tidbits. So here's something interesting. What if your phone is dead? Well, you can see right here, express cards and keys are available even when your phone dies. Now, obviously for a limited time, right? You only have so much reserve battery, but if it's anything like express cards, you'll have about 5 hours after your phone has died to be able to use your home key. So that's usually plenty of time to get to a charger, right? All right, so let's talk about home key support within the home app. So if I long press, obviously on the lock here, I'm going to reveal the full lock panel, and I can just swipe down like that to lock my door, or swipe up to unlock like that. But what's interesting, if we tap the little cog in the bottom right hand corner, we're going to get our settings for our Encode Plus. You'll see battery level and basically everything else you would expect, the current room it's in, favorites. But what's interesting here is you have the manage access panel. So if you tap on that, you're going to get details about who has access to this particular lock. So obviously under residents, my name is there, and I can easily add additional residents. Those are permanent fixtures in my household, or I can add a guest for someone who doesn't live here but who may need access, and I can add a 4 to 8 digit passcode for them, and I can even share that guest passcode just by tapping the share button. So I went ahead and saved that. Now it's going to ask me if I want to share. Yes, and I can share using the share sheet if I want to do that. Now, if I tap home and tap home settings, there you can see your residents. So I can add Ducky if I want to the home keys. I can go into my preferences here, and then I can scroll down and I can tap locks. And that lets me see all of the locks. I can also access my personal access code, which I set up initially, which I believe was 1984. And of course I can remove that if I want to do that. Let's go back, and I can show my home key in the wallet just like that. So here is the home key in the wallet, and you can actually see that kind of cool reflective animation when I move it around there. Really sweet. So if I tap the ellipsis button, I can go in and access my personal access code. It's going to want me to authenticate with Face ID in this case. Or I can toggle express mode on or off. If you have express mode off, you'll have to verify with Face ID every time you use your home key, and you don't get to use the home key while your device is dead. So you probably want to have express mode on, unless understandably you want that extra layer of protection by having to verify first. But express mode is just so convenient, I plan on keeping it on for sure. All right, so that is a look at the Apple Home Keys support. Here it is within the Wallet app. And the cool thing, like I said, it syncs between all of your eligible iPhones. So your wallet, just like your cards are in your wallet, your home key is in your wallet, right? And here with my iPhone SE, it wants to use Touch ID because I don't have express mode enabled. It's asking me to hold near lock after verify. And while we're at it, I'll go ahead and show you what the home key looks like on the Apple Watch. And that's what it looks like. So now let's talk about the Schlage app features. So I showed you this earlier where you can lock or unlock your device using the Schlage app. This isn't the app you probably want to use on a regular basis when interfacing with your lock, but it does have some key settings that you can only configure from this app. So if I tap the little cog in the bottom left hand corner, the little gear icon, there you'll see the alarm mode setting, which allows you to sound an alarm. For instance, if someone opens or closes your door, you can also adjust the sensitivity. And it's cool, but the alarm just isn't that loud. Yeah, that was the alarm. You also have auto lock. As you can see, you can set that up. But I've chosen to use an automation. So I have this sensor from Eve that tells me whether or not my door is closed. And once it's closed, I have it automated to automatically lock the lock. So that's just how I like to have it set up. Of course, there's the one-touch locking feature, which I showed you already. And you can also disable the beep that occurs when you press a key on the touchscreen. Now let's talk about a few things about this lock that could be improved. The backlight for the touchscreen is good enough, but it feels a little bit low budget compared to some of the other smart locks that I used. But in the dark, it does a good enough job, I guess. Now, another feature I wish this lock had is a little indicator. See that little red light that shines? That tells you that your lock is locked here on my Yale Assure SL, but the Schlage doesn't have such a feature. And the keypad itself just isn't as high quality feeling as the keypad on something like my Yale. It's sleeker, smaller, and yeah, I just like it better on the Yale. The Yale also has a speaker that actually talks to you if that's your sort of thing. And while I like the look of the Schlage Encode Plus, some people may prefer the look of something like the Yale or some of the other smart locks out there. So here's my take. The Schlage Encode Plus is the best smart lock that I've used because there's just so many options for unlocking your door. You can use an actual key, or you can use the new HomeKit feature, which was revealed in iOS 15, and now we finally have that available here on a consumer-facing product. Now the Schlage Encode Plus will reportedly be $300 upon release, and those release details are still to come, so stay tuned. But again, this is my favorite lock, and I plan on replacing all of my other smart locks with this lock right here because I just love the NFC HomeKit feature. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments section. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac.